Hi there, Sandra here from createinspain, and today I am making a video which is particularly relevant to those who have either just bought a ScanNCut DX machine or are thinking of buying a ScanNCut DX machine, or who've been gifted one at Christmas or for a birthday, whatever. Now, the ScanNCut DX, its main selling feature is the AUTOBLADE. Now, if you're not familiar with them, this is what the AUTOBLADE holder looks like. And if I press down on here, you should, if I can get my fingers out of the way, be able to see the blade. You'll notice that this is sprung loaded. This is why it's an AUTOBLADE. Now, what you may not be aware of, but it's important to know, is that all the AUTOBLADEs really need to be tested before you start cutting lots of things, or you might end up cutting through your mat. This doesn't mean that you have to alter your blade every time you do a cut, but it means that you really need to set it up before first use. This also applies when you eventually decide your blade is blunt and you replace the blade. Not all blades are created equal. Now, this is the actual blade that you purchase as a replacement for your AUTOBLADE holder. Slots in there quite easily and you just tighten it up. But in manufacturing, I believe that there is sometimes a slight difference in the exact length of the blade. You are talking minute fractions, 0.0 whatever of a mil, but it's enough to make a difference. So when you do buy a new blade, you need to just check that your calibration for your blade is correct already. So what do I mean by the blade calibration? I'm going to just press on a pattern here, and it doesn't make any difference what pattern it is, and set that. Okay, so I have something on my screen. When it comes to adjusting your blade, you want to click OK, and you select cut. Now, I'm not suggesting that you use this shape to cut or anything. You can use just the test shapes if you wish, although something like a letter B is a good test because it's got curved and straight bits. And on here you see that you have this wrench to the side, and if you press on the wrench you come into your menus. Now, cut pressure I have, as you can see, set to -5. Now, if I put this back up, you can see that this is where the auto is. Now, if I used auto for my cutting, I will be cutting rather deeply into my mat, which is why I use -5. But if you don't alter this auto setting and put it on a minus number, and I suggest you go right the way down to -9, which is the lowest it will go, you are likely to find that you're cutting into your mat more than you should. Now, that not only damages the mat, but it will damage your blade because it's not supposed to be cutting into the mat. It's supposed to be cutting into the material on the mat. Now, yes, the blade is automatic. Once you have it set up so that your blade knows exactly how far it has to go in, it is pretty much automatic. I rarely have to change my setting. The only time I will really have to change my setting is if I am cutting something which is different, really different to what I normally cut. So a very dense material might take a higher setting, for example. Or if I'm cutting something like tissue paper, then I might be inclined to put it down still more. Find out what gives you the best cut. Start really low and work up. You can't do any damage if you start low. You start too high, and yes, you do risk damaging either your mat, the blade, or both. Now, while I'm here on the menu system, I'm going to scroll down And you can see here we have half cut. The half cut is designed for when you want to kiss cut vinyl. By kiss cut, I mean you are cutting the vinyl itself, but not the backing paper that the vinyl comes on. Or in the case of heat transfer vinyl, otherwise known as HTV, you're only cutting the actual vinyl and not the plastic sheet that it comes on that you use to iron it onto whatever it is you're putting your vinyl onto. Now, your half cut setting also has different settings. As you can see, mine is on -1 at the moment. Again, put it down to a very, very low minus figure and work your way up until it gives you a satisfactory cut. Now, my tip for doing that is to just use a piece of vinyl that you do not like the colour of. Then you can practice your cuts to your heart's content and make sure you get it right before you use the vinyl that you really want to cut. Okay? You don't have to do big patterns, you can do small test swatches, but practice on something that you don't like. Make sure it's the same type of vinyl, so you don't want to change brands. Some of them are thicker than others. But do it on a colour that you don't like, and then you won't be bothered if you use half a sheet of vinyl doing test cuts. The same sort of thing goes with whatever you're planning to cut on your normal setting. Switch that off again, because otherwise I'll be thinking my cutter's not cutting properly. And go back up here. So if you're cutting mostly a certain brand of card, then do your test cuts on that brand of card. Make life easier for yourself. If you're going to be varying from plastics to card to vinyls, as I do, the AUTOBLADE is very, very good. As I said, there are very few times when I actually have to alter it. I did notice though that when I purchased a new blade, even when I was using the same settings, with the same mat, with the same card, no, I had to recalibrate the blade. There was a slight difference in the length of the blade, that's my belief, and therefore it needs recalibrating. It doesn't take very long to do, but it's a good idea to do it to save yourself heartache and money at the end of the day. You want your cuts to come out well. Calibrate your blade, just get it over with, and you'll be a lot happier than you will if you cut right the way through your mat. Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope you found that useful. I will see you again soon. I will see you on my Facebook page, Create in Spain, as well. And if you really need to contact me and have a longer conversation, there is always my email address, which is down below the video. Take care. Bye-bye.